now. This is Diamond Conversations, and we are getting rolling here with a new episode of Diamond Conversations here exclusively on the Creative Control Podcast Network. If you didn't know by now, my name is Ian, and every single week we sit down in the chair and we have a Diamond Conversation with somebody from the world of baseball. And this week, of course, it's no different. It's the same formula every single week. But this time, welcoming in a great former pitcher, former Texas Ranger, former Oakland A, and a 2001 World Series champion with the Diamondbacks, Mr. Bobby Witt joining me tonight. Mr. Witt, thank you so much for coming on.
You bet, Ian. My pleasure. Glad to be on with you.
It must be a Diamondback day in my household. I spoke with Tony Womack earlier today.
Oh man, what a great guy and a great player. Absolutely.
So I'm running through the Diamondbacks 2001 roster, but it's funny. It's 20 years. So it's 20 years since the 2001 World Series, but it's also 20 years since you left the game. So it's kind of it's an interesting anniversary for you. But looking back, let's go back to 2001. What are your memories before we get rolling into this?
Well, I went to Arizona as a non-roster invitee, ended up making the team. And my very first start against the Cardinals, I ended up tearing my ligament in my elbow. So I ended up rehabbing it, coming back. If I was younger, I probably would have had the surgery, the Tommy John surgery, but that was my 16th year. I knew we had a really good team. I was just trying to do everything in my power to get back to help out, and just wanted to be a part of it. So I ended up coming back in August, throwing out of the pen, and made a few starts in September and finished up, getting into a couple of postseason games there. And, it was a fantastic way to end my career. And, just the group of guys that we had on that team was phenomenal. I mean, just unbelievable. Every time they went out, man, it was all business on the field, a lot of different personalities off the field, but it was really a great team.
It's a very interesting team looking back, that mix of veterans and then the younger guys and how it all came together. And I guess that's kind of the perfect mix, for the quintessential winner, when you got the experience and you got the guys that are also learning the ropes and see who really contributed to a lot of the big moments. But the fact it's 20 years, I can't believe it myself. I graduated high school in 2001, so I'm starting to show my age too.
Yeah, it's honestly, man, I mean, it is something that's hard to fathom right now. I mean, but looking back upon it, I mean, like I say, it was one of the better memories I had in my career, better experiences as far as playing. But time, like they say, in time flies, and it definitely has. But it was something that I'll never forget.
What was going through your mind as you stepped on for the World Series? Because what was it? Did you pitch? Was it Game 6 that you pitched?
Yes, I got in Game 6. We had a big enough lead at the time where I think they felt comfortable bringing me in out of the pen. that was the game that was the game that we really jumped. The boys jumped on Andy Pettit pretty good early, and the big unit was on the mound, and he did his dominance as he was doing there in the World Series and postseason. And I ended up getting in there in this. I think it was the 8th inning. Ended up punching out a guy that was the last guy I faced, and so it was very memorable for me. And then the next day was one of the most exciting games I've ever seen.
Did you think the little punch by Luis Gonzalez was going through? Because it was like one of those off the fist kind of things, and just whoop, found the hole, and there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with having Gonzo up there, you just felt like we had a chance. And the way that inning started, Tony had a big hit, and just the whole thing with the bunt, and just things really just turned. And all of a sudden, the next thing we know, the game's tied, and then Gonzo gets that hit. I mean, it was just one of those. I think, again, something that I'll never forget. Obviously, that was 9/11, and
Yes.
During that time frame, and we went to New York up 2-0, playing the Yankees, and that was my 16th year going to the city and playing, and just to see how it was it was just an eerie feeling. We went down to Ground Zero, and we got to see this, see some of the firefighters and police officers and people that were involved in all that. And that was I'll never forget that. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then we ended up losing 3 games, and it was just it was something that I think New York, to be honest with you, they just needed to just try to get a little life back into the city. And then we go back to Arizona, down 3-2, and just things turned around so quickly. And then we ended up winning it, and it worked out well for us. But at least there was a little bit of joy there for the city of New York.
Growing up in New York, I'm a Mets fan, so I can't say I didn't love the victory. I will say that. But when you guys left New York, I mean, everybody thought there was no way. The momentum the Yankees had leaving New York was out of this world with the way they won those games. And it was so fascinating to see the blowout that you guys had and then the come from behind and that amazing victory. Just a great time capsule. And again, 20 years feels like it was last week.
I mean, like I said, it just flew by, and I can't believe it because we've got a little thread that a lot of the guys are on, and we text one another, and just a couple of guys had mentioned it once. Once spring training started, they said, "Hey, this is 20 years," and everybody's like, "Man, what happened? Where'd the time go?" So
that's great. Well, 20 years ago, that's 2001. Let's talk about what we got going on 2021. Big year, especially in the Witt household. Your son, absolute, unheralded prospect, just really so many great things to come in his career. But last year, losing a whole season because of all the craziness, because of all the protocols and minor leagues being shut down. How was that? Now, I've seen videos of him kind of working out and what he was doing to keep busy, but how was that for you to try to keep him kind of like in game shape as he's kind of sitting out this season?
Yeah, I think that it wasn't hard at all. I mean, he's self-motivated. I mean, he knows what he's trying to do, what he wants to try to attain, and that's ultimately get to the big leagues. And he was fortunate enough to go to the alternate site. And I think that a lot of people, for him to go up there and be able to face AA, AAA, and even some guys that are the big leagues that were coming down was probably the best thing that could happen to him. I mean, he was facing AA or better pitching for 2.5, 3 months of the year. So yes, it wasn't really like true games, but I mean, facing Daniel Lynch, who was just called up, he was facing, a lot of guys, Coar, I mean, guys that were, throwing with good velocity, had really good stuff. So I think it was a good experience for him. And then they added another month of instructionally, more or less with the same guys. So overall, it wasn't a total loss. But then, he came back home and then got into the gym, started working out, preparing himself for the 2021 season. And, got an invite to big league camp and things went well there. So he's actually starting. They start tonight up in Little Rock, Arkansas. Yes.
Yeah. That's almost like the greatest news that you could possibly hear, I'm sure, because, it felt like that year was just, it was so sad to see the minor league baseball gone like that. And, yes, the alternate site was great, but not everybody got a chance to play in those alternate sites. And you had either guys getting shipped off to independent leagues or in some cases just working out at home. So he's very fortunate to be doing that. But this tonight, 2021, is he excited for this kickoff to minor league baseball?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I think, and all his teammates, I think the entire minor league systems are just to, to have something taken away like that, not being able to go out, and those guys that weren't able, like you said, weren't able to go to the alternate site, just to miss something that you love doing and going out, doing it every day and being out there and playing, just taken away from them. So I think I'm sure there's a lot of ex-players out there that are just happy just to see the minor leagues back just as well as the big league games.
It was a big void with no minor leagues. It really was. And as crazy it was when they would say, oh, they got to call somebody from the alternate site, it was nice. And they still have those alternate sites for teams in their local areas. But the minor leagues were necessary. They're needed. And I hope tonight this is a big kickoff for a great special season. I hope we see a lot of great moments, not only from your son, Bobby Witt Jr., but from everybody who's stepping onto a field all across the country tonight.
I can't agree with you more, and I think that would be fantastic, just to get everything cranked up and get these guys back out there and because it's, like I say, that's their livelihood, and that's what everybody has, a dream of trying to get to the big leagues, and, without minor league baseball, it's not going to be possible.
Absolutely. So now have you kind of kept tabs on the new season that we're in right now, 2021 baseball season? It's been fast and furious, strikeouts at a high rate, more strikeouts last month in the first month of the season than any time, more than the hits. I mean, that's unbelievable. So how have you liked the 2021 season so far?
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, you're looking around the league. It's 232 is the league average. Obviously, it looks like pitchers have been dominating. I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of guys out there coming out of the bullpen that can get it up there pretty good in the velo and as far as the starting. So I don't know It's just the fact that the pitchers are ahead of guys right now, and maybe the weather was a little bit chilly to start with. Some guys weren't really getting to where they need to be. But I mean, you look at the guys that are good hitters. I mean, Trout's doing what he does all the time, and it looks like Byron Buxton's off to a great start.
Yeah.
Some other guys out there, but I think some of the, I mean, I think this as well as anybody. When most of these guys have been playing, they have a record of, and you just turn over their baseball card and it kind of shows you what they're going to do. And I think that's going to be the case this year. There's going to be a few surprises, I think, as always, and there's going to be some guys that, I don't know, maybe it's not their time.
Just funny, and this is not a new school versus old school question or argument or favoring of one side, but as somebody who I love to watch a pitcher, I love to see how they are. Their craft is just the everything about it, the presentation, the whole 9 yards. So now for you, what was your approach like going into a game for, like we see such an emphasis on strikeouts now? What was your approach as you stepped on the mound?
Well, my game up until probably the last couple of years was a power game. I mean, that's what I was, basically a fastball slider guy. I think I tried probably every possible changeup that there ever was known to mankind. I mean, it was one of those deals where it never really came about. But I mean, I like to attack hitters with my fastball, take them out with my slider. And, I think that the guys that really gave me a hard time were the guys that were the contact guys that put the ball in play, because they would obviously foul off the tougher pitches, build up your pitch count, and make you work a little harder. The guys that were the free swingers, McGuire, Canseco, the big boys in the game, I liked facing them because I knew that the challenge was there, where they were going to get me or I was going to get them. And it happened sometimes. I come out of there not doing too well, but my approach was that is just. I think early in my career, I tried probably too much to try to strike it. I mean, I wanted to punch out 10 a night. I didn't feel like if I didn't, it wasn't that good of a night. But that was kind of the mentality. Then later, pitched a little bit later in my career, pitched a little bit more to contact.
I was thinking about, the batters that you would have faced in the American League West and the old structure of the American League West, very deep, and just the boppers that were on all these teams and how you would get out there every couple of days and be able to switch it up. And whether it was, like you said, McGuire or Canseco or a Griffey or a Frank Thomas or somebody like that stepping in, when they step in the box, you're very confident in your ability that these guys, these power guys, you got their number, you're going to get them out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to have that mentality, but unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't go where you want it to. And with their talent, I mean, you're missing by 2-3 inches. That's all it takes. And you want that ball in on a guy and it doesn't go in and it stays on the inner third. I mean, it's just, I mean, I faced Bo Jackson. I mean, like you said, I mean, Kirby Puckett was a guy I loved to face. I just love guys that could go out there and if you made a mistake, they were going to get you, but also very competitive at bats. And Kirby was a guy, it did not matter. You think you could throw a ball up out of the strike zone, high, away, and this guy would get on top of it, hit it to right field. He was an incredible hitter, but those are the things I think I miss the most, is that one-on-one confrontation with the hitter. That that it's, and especially if it's a situation where you got guys on base and you're trying to, get out of a jam or something like that. And that's where the adrenaline comes in, you get that flow. And that's something that I think that I probably missed the most out of the game.
How about some of those old ballparks? Arlington Stadium, Comiskey Park, even though Oakland Coliseum, it's this big, giant ballpark. You pitched there, it's still there somehow. But what are some of the favorite ballparks that you pitched in?
Well, growing up in Massachusetts, and playing against the Red Sox was probably my favorite place, because I was able to pitch in front of family and friends. And career-wise, I'm pretty sure my best numbers were against the Red Sox. So I enjoyed pitching in Fenway. Not early in my career, but later, after the first couple of years. But I think that Fenway was one of the places that I really, really enjoyed going back pitching at. I like the old ballparks, Ian. I like, going to Comiskey. I liked old Tiger Stadium. Oh, I mean, I go back to the old Baltimore Stadium. I mean, that's I go way, way back. but those are the places that I like, because I kind of follow the game, and seeing the people that played before me go out there, knowing that I was in that dugout, I was on that mound, I was doing the things that these guys did at one time. Just it excited me as far as just the game itself.
I get no less enjoyment now that I did as a kid growing up watching baseball in the late 80s and early 90s. I can go back and I pulled up a game from you. I think it was 1993 and I was just watching it. And man, I just get still so excited and so amped up to see the old ballparks, the old uniforms, these classic players that I looked up to when these guys were giants and monsters. And to think of it now, I mean, it's such a relic, but still you pitched in an unbelievable era. And I got to say, it just as a sidebar, it puts a smile on my face as a fan because I prefer to go back and watch some of those older games sometimes because I get very frustrated with the way the game's going today.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, I love the game of baseball. I really do. But there's some things that are going on right now in the game that it's just. I mean, it's a lot of the excitement I think is taken away. I mean, I know as a fan of the game, I always like to watch a guy hit a triple. I love watching the guy run. You don't see that too much anymore. And you know, obviously the strikeouts are up. I mean, to a point where it's, you know, you go to a game and you can kind of almost take a blueprint out, know what's going to happen. You're going to see 20 punch outs. You're going to see the starter go 5, a bunch of guys in the bullpen, and you know, a couple home runs. I mean, I just liked it when there was ball was put in play, more contact. I think the game becomes it's more exciting then.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you make your debut in 1986, and what I want to ask you about 1986, and not that you made 30 plus starts, and not that you won 11 games. I want to talk about Bobby Valentine. And Bobby Valentine, you know, he's managed with New York, he's managed in Boston, he's been in great markets, but his time in Texas, you know, is a pretty good duration. And he really had an unbelievable collection of talent. But you got a young Bobby Valentine, only a half season into his managerial career. What do you remember about Bobby V in '86?
To probably the biggest thing was giving me an opportunity. You know, I think that I think we had 5 rookies that year, Ian, on the team in 1986. And that's unheard of in today's game. And that was something that Bobby did, and he went with that. And we ended up finished second that year in the division, which was really quite amazing with the you know, with the younger talent we had, you know, mixed in with the veteran guys. But he was very feisty. You know, I think he learned a lot from Tommy Lasorda, and just the way that he managed the game. He would, you know, I think he protected the players. I mean, I'm pretty sure he got tossed a lot. You know, it wasn't like
Yeah.
nowadays when nobody gets tossed. He was out there arguing and always had your back. And you know, I was very appreciative that you know, he gave me that opportunity. And you know, and again, he was a guy that I thought, you know, he knew the game well, and you knew where you stood when he was when he was managing.
Yeah, and you're right. It was a younger team in '86. Now he takes over in '85. You come up in '86, so he's really that's his first spring training when he's getting into it. I mean, he was the third base coach for the Mets in the beginning part of 1985, and then to be ending it with the Rangers on the field is pretty impressive. But he has you know the team for quite a long time. I talked to Jeff Fry last year, and Jeff Fry comes up, and I did this whole same build up with him about Bobby V. And Bobby V gets fired the day before Jeff Fry comes up. So it's just kind of funny the trajectory of Bobby V in Texas from '86 to '92, '93. But in the middle there, you know, the teams that you guys had just superstars and amazing talent. But the 1990 season, which is your marquee season, I mean, 1990, 17 wins. But your rotation is off the charts. And obviously, we got the Ryan Express. We got Nolan Ryan there. Kind of take us back. You know, Charlie Huff's also there. Kenny Rogers is there. I mean, you guys had young Kevin Brown. What a team. What a rotation. What are your memories of that 90 season?
Well, like you said, that was definitely by far my best season. It was just a lot of fun. I actually started that year. I believe I was 3-7 to start the year and turn things
Wow.
around. Got on a little bit of a win streak there. I don't know if it was like 11 in a row or something like that, but things really turned around for me. And obviously having Nolan there, you know, I loved watching him pitch. I mean, just I never missed a pitch when he went out there because every time when he took the ball, you never knew what was going to happen, man. It might be it might be, who knows, 15 punch out game. You know, he could go into the ninth or whatever inning with a no hitter. It was amazing. But to see how he went about his business and being able to watch him, I think really helped me out a lot. And you know, we kind of, I took it personally when Nolan would go out and have a good game and punch out whatever 10, 12, I was going out there trying to at least always team first, but I mean, I wanted to try to, okay, you got 10 tonight. I'm going to try to get 11 or whatever it was, just try to get up on him a little bit. But he was, he was just amazing, man. I mean, the stuff he was able to do at his age and go out there and just compete. I mean, I got to see during his time there when I played with him, I got to see his 5,000 strikeout, 6 and 7 no hitters, and his 300th win. So I mean, that was in itself something just incredible for being there and being a teammate of his.
What I love, just numbers wise, if you look at it, Nolan Ryan, age 43, 232 strikeouts in 1990. Bobby Witt, age 26, 17 wins, 221 strikeouts. So the Ryan Express was in full fire mode in 1990.
Oh, I mean, he was unbelievable. I think he probably had a missed a start too or something. He probably would have had 240 plus that year. But but to do what he did at his age and just how he kept his body going and the man just loved to compete. I mean, it didn't matter. He just wanted to be out on that mound and go out there and do what he did best, and that's just pitch.
Now, did that kind of veteran presence, did that make you guys, the younger guys, kind of push yourself a little more? Because it's kind of like, well, if he's not kind of letting up, then I really can't take any any mental breaks because I got to keep up with somebody, who's still at the top of his game at a time, even in 1990 at 43 years old. That is really impressive.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he set the tone for everything. I mean, when you see what he was doing and his work ethic, and I've been a guy that's always enjoyed working out and doing that stuff and making sure I did the right things when I was out there playing. But to see him go out and perform and do what he was doing, if you did not try to go out there and at least compete with him or be at that same level, then there was something wrong. I mean, and everybody knew that. I mean, like you said, where he was with his age and all that, you can't let him go out there and be showing everybody up. Guys I think they worked a little bit harder and, took a little bit of different approach.
And still pitched 2 more seasons, so he wasn't close to being done. And he probably could have pitched more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the 1990 season. I mean, that's again, you were on top of your game. There's really, it's very fascinating to look at the numbers. You don't see many guys even making as many starts as you made, at that point. And the innings pitched, and that's again, it's the old school versus new school debate. Were you the kind of guy were you the bulldog? Did you want that ball for 9 innings? Did you not want to come off the field? And was that kind of like, you jockeyed with a guy like Bobby V to get that ball back after the inning when you knew you had something left?
Absolutely. I there is.
Hold on. Wait, I lost you for a second. I lost your audio.
Do you got it?
Hey, now you're back. Okay.
I'm back. Okay.
You're back.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I think the biggest thing for me when I played, going out pitching and throwing a complete game, the satisfaction that you would get as a pitcher and knowing that you went out there and competed, you got, you checked the box for 9 innings. You went out and did everything that you could possibly do to keep your team in a game, but then actually to finish the game was something that I just, the feeling, I don't know how to really explain it. I wanted to be physically exhausted and mentally exhausted because then I knew I did my job. I just, 5 innings was something that I tell people that, when we were pitching, I mean, I had games, I think that were documented. I mean, I had 5. I had a reporter call me a few years ago when they started talking about the pitch count at 105 games at probably, I think it was 135 to 140 pitches or more. And I used to tell people at 100, I was just getting loose, and then I got Nolan out there doing the same, I'm watching Nolan Ryan go out there and he's throwing 135, 140. The other day, I guess it was it was an anniversary of a no-hitter. And I made a comment on Twitter just saying, I said, he probably threw between 135 to 140 pitches. Well, probably 130 or whatever in that game. And he was still throwing. His last pitch was a punch out and it was still cheese, to finish the game and to watch that and watch how he went about it. But, I never, I'm telling you right now, this is the God's truth, is that I never, ever worried about a pitch count. I did not care. I felt like when I started something, I wanted to go out and finish it. And obviously the game would dictate that on how I would perform. But there was no, I never really thought about, I guess, long-term or things like that. I just wanted to go out there and compete and feel like at the end of the day, I'm putting my team in a position for us to have an opportunity to win.
You know, I'm looking at your stats right now. There's no bracket for pitches thrown. It's just innings pitched, 7 complete games, and the rest of the numbers. So at the end of the day, nobody's really going to be thinking about how many pitches were thrown in a game. But I will just point this out about Nolan Ryan. One of my favorite things ever watching a clip of him is just this. After he throws that last pitch, he kind of wiggles that arm out, and then that's when he shakes the catcher's hand, and you guys are on your way. That's one of my favorite little things to look at.
Oh, yeah.
Before we wrap it up, I got to bring these up to 2 huge milestones in your career. The 4 strikeouts in 1 inning in 1987, kind of an anomaly, you know, put in a little bit of extra work, but still, nonetheless, it's fun to watch. The clip is on YouTube. It's a great thing, but I'm sure in the moment you didn't realize you were a part of some unique history at that point.
Well, that was, I remembered, I think Mike Stanley was catching and it was against the Orioles. And, you know, I don't know, even in college, I don't know if I did that before, but that was something that I've always kind of thought about in the back of my mind. It would be pretty cool that if you ever could do it. So when I ended up punching out the third guy and the ball got away from Stano, I was like, sweet, man, I got a chance to do this. I mean, that's the first thing that popped in my head. And I go, I'm going to do this. And I ended up, I forget who was hitting, but ended up punching out the next guy. So that was something that was kind of nice. Like, you know, I have that, you know, little tidbit thing there that, you know, you can say that you did.
Yeah, you can't go wrong there. It's a pretty cool little clip. Again, it's on YouTube if anybody wants to check it out. And the other one, and this is history that, yes, 4 people can strike out in an inning, but you can never be the second, or you can't be the first for the second time. The first American League pitcher to hit a home run in interleague play. It was your 3rd hit of your major league career. Take us back. It's off Ishmael Valdez at Dodger Stadium. What a place to hit it. Take us back to that moment, what you remember.
Oh yeah, that was a great. I mean, that was kind of one of the coolest games I think I had. We ended up, I think we won the game. It was either 3-2 to 4 to. It was either 4-3 or 3-2. We won by a run, but I think I pitched 7 innings and we were winning the game when I came out. But my first at bat, I actually hit a line drive to the second baseman, and I told Macklemore I was leading off the inning the next time, and I go, I think I'm going to drop a bunt down here, Mac, because it was a close game. And he goes, well, who's going to run for you? And I said, yeah, you got a point there. I said, nah, I'll just go up there and try to hit one out. And I was already, it was premeditated. And I sat there and I go, if he throws me first pitch fastball, I'm swinging. So I was ready. Piazza was catching. And I'll never forget it. He threw it and I just swung it. And I thought it was a ball in the gap for a double. So I was going around first as hard as I could. I don't know what that speed was, but it probably wasn't, you know, too fast. And I get the second, and the umpire's giving me the, you know, like the home run sign. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And I didn't want to smile or anything. And then I got to the dugout, and I just like, I can't believe that happened. So it was something I'll never forget. And to do it at Dodger Stadium was really exciting for me. And obviously it was the first year of the interleague play. So, yeah, it was cool. I got one, and that's one of the things that my son and I keep going back and forth about. You know, I can always tell him, I said, you know, I know you want to get there, man, but just remember, I got the home run in the house right now. So we'll see what happens.
I was